KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
So Friday in New Orleans, the third of 4 NBA Cup games. The Warriors are going to be 11-3, staying atop the Western Conference. Most importantly for a team that's 21-20 at home, I like 5-1 to start things at home this year.
All right, yes, Warriors get the win, 116-93 over the Hawks, taking advantage of pretty gutless effort by Atlanta, but the Warriors made it a gutless effort by virtue of their play. The Warriors came out humming in this game, 41-22 with the lead at the end of the first quarter, and they would advance that lead in the second quarter as well, and actually ended up 120-97, the final, when it was all told. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Out here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City as the Warriors improve, as you heard Fitz say, to 5-1, or 11-3 overall, and 5-1 on the home floor with the blowout victory. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That is the number to give me a call or shoot me a text here out at Harmonic Brewing, where cheers to Mike and Alex as I give you a cheers here as I take a little sip of this Kolsch. Mighty tasty here on this Wednesday night with the Warriors victorious. So Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open as well. And folks filing into the YouTube chat here at Harmonic Brewing. We'll have a lot of the YouTube chat between now and whenever we call it a night in this one. So some initial thoughts. Warriors were humming right at the start in this one, as I mentioned. Lindy Waters III getting the start after the Warriors got some tough news pregame with respect to DeAnthony Melton. DeAnthony Melton is going to be out for the remainder of the season as he's going to have ACL surgery after getting multiple other opinions. And Steve Kerr pregame, and we'll talk more about this coming up on the show, had acknowledged that Melton had really played his way into being the Warriors starting two guard next to Steph Curry. So a void to be filled not only tonight, but now moving forward here for the remainder of the season. And Lindy Waters III got the start in this one for Golden State. Warriors just came out with the ball movement and the defense at a big time level. 9 assists on their first 9 made baskets, all in the first 7 minutes. And Lindy Waters started on Trae Young, but then Gary Payton II came in and just started locking Trae Young up. And the Warriors are getting out in transition. They pushed the lead up to 29-17 with just under 4 minutes to go in that first quarter. And then the Warriors, with that group that had Gary Payton II out there, Stephen Curry, Buddy Hield, Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, really got it going. Buddy Hield, 8 quick points, hitting a couple of threes. Warriors held the Hawks to 2 points over a 6-minute stretch toward the end of the first quarter. And all told, 41-22, the advantage after one for the Warriors. 6 for 13 from 3. They had 13 assists on 15 made baskets in that quarter as the Warriors had their best first quarter of the season and really, really made things difficult on Trae Young and company in that first quarter. Quarter number 2, Warriors would expand the lead to 21, and then Stephen Curry and Draymond Green would come back in, and the Warriors ended the half on a 10-0 run after they were up by 15 to push it to 25, largest lead of the game. And flat out, it looked like the Warriors made the Hawks quit over the final few possessions of the first half. You had Kyle Anderson picking Trae Young's pocket, Andrew Wiggins grabbing an offensive rebound as the entire Hawks team just stood and watched. And the Warriors defensively just putting it to them. in a big-time way. And I think forcing how I began the show here with what was a gutless Hawks effort at the end of the frame, and the Warriors then come out third quarter, and they continue to jump on the Hawks in quarter number 3, pushed it up to 31. Hawks at that point were shooting 28% from the floor, and Draymond Green was everywhere. Your quintessential Draymond Green, man-possessed defensively in this one, and he just was doing it all in terms of getting in passing lanes, doubling pick and rolls, just absolute domination, and part of what makes Draymond Green spectacular. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627 to jump in and join the conversation here. Dubs OT with JD tonight from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Stop by and say hi. We got a pretty full house here on what has been kind of a wet evening in San Francisco. Warriors with the 120-97 win over the Hawks to improve to 11-3. So Warriors up 31, and then the Hawks are able to cut it down from that point all the way down to 15 going to the fourth quarter. Hawks closed the quarter on a 28-12 run after the Warriors led by as many as 31 and cut it to 15. It would end up being a 13-point game early in the fourth quarter. Starters had to come back in on a night where it looked like the Warriors starters were going to be able to potentially take the entire fourth quarter off, which is important because you look at the nature of the schedule here with the Warriors after having last weekend off, played the game against the Clippers on Monday and then have the game tonight. Then they have a back-to-back Friday, Saturday in New Orleans and in San Antonio before coming right back to play Monday and Wednesday at home against Brooklyn and Oklahoma City. So it's not going to get any easier as far as the schedule, and any little rest opportunities that you can potentially have if you're a team that has a schedule like that coming up, you want to be able to take advantage of them the best you possibly can. And so having the starters have to come back in salted this game away after it got to 13. The Warriors pushed it all the way back up to 26, and they wind up winning 120-97. All told, a really nice victory for Golden State, and a dominant victory for Golden State against an Atlanta Hawks team that, at this point, just tonight didn't have it, but I think the Warriors made them not have it because they cut the head off the snake defensively in terms of what they did with Trae Young. You take Trae Young away, and the Hawks don't have a lot of options. And tonight, Trae Young was a -19, and he looked like at times he didn't want to shoot. 12 points on the 1 of 6, just a really spectacular job, all told, with the defense leading to offense. The Warriors got production in that stretch from Buddy Hield. Tonight was a great Andrew Wiggins game. 27 points from Andrew Wiggins, and Wiggins was aggressive. Wiggins was getting out in transition for easy buckets. Wiggins was hitting three-pointers, but he also was moving the basketball. 36 Warriors assists in this game on 47 made field goals, and the Warriors dominated the paint in part because they were able to get out in transition for 17 Hawks turnovers, but also in part because the Warriors just ran their half-court offense tonight to perfection. Ball movement everywhere, and ball movement for either open threes or as the Hawks would try to get out on the three-point line, just easy buckets at the rim all night long. 62 points in the paint. Hawks can be vulnerable in the paint, and the Warriors just took full advantage to highlight this dominant win. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That is the number to give us a call or shoot us a text here. Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line open, and appreciate everybody on YouTube as well as we get this thing going here out at Harmonic Brewing. Taking a quick look at the chat. Rockin' New Era 84. Good to see you. Paul, good to see you. Larry, Buco Sports, chiming in. Nice dub. Estimated eyes. A lot of our regulars checking in. Irwin Kwong. Yeah, estimated eyes. Yeah, the Hawks aren't very good. No, the Hawks are not very good. Robert, defense won it for sure. CB checking in. Loving JK's rebounding improvement. Yeah, he's made it, I think, a point of emphasis because the coaching staff has made it a point of emphasis. And it's not as if Kuminga's got to average a double-double, but he's somebody that can really do better at his size, and with his athleticism, he's somebody that can without question make that a big part of his repertoire. And Kuminga, I thought, early getting to the bucket, he was taking advantage of some of those paint points. 3-point shot wasn't necessarily there. He got stopped at the rim a couple of times, but all in all, effort-wise, pretty good for Jonathan Kuminga in this one. All in all, not a lot to complain about tonight when you look at the way the Warriors were able to get the job done. One small negative is Brandon Pajemski, who went down in the fourth quarter and got hit in that face area again, where Pajemski had the nose, which is not broken. X-rays negative on Pajemski's nose. Took that shot to the face. Steve Kerr saying that Pajemski is day-to-day. So good news there that Pajemski, I know, was looking forward to continuing to be able to play without a mask, and really was happy that he was able to get that mask off, and mentioned that to me at shoot-around over at Intuit Dome down in Southern California on Monday in the lead up to the game, just how much it was just freeing to not be wearing the mask anymore. So we'll see. But no broken bones on the x-rays for Brandon Pajemski as he takes that shot to the face here, which is really, I think, the only blemish from in the game on a night where the Warriors lead by as many as 31 and win by 23 against the Atlanta Hawks. One other note, as we mentioned, just as far as DeAnthony Melton goes, and we do want to reiterate that here right off the top because it wasn't all gravy for the Warriors before the game. DeAnthony Melton, it was announced right before Steve Kerr's pregame press conference around 5:15 that he underwent further evaluation on his ACL, and it was listed as an ACL sprain, but any kind of ACL sprain is a minor tear. And so the further testing to determine the extent of the injury indicated that Melton have an ACL surgery. So Melton is done for the season after the surgery has been scheduled here for sometime upcoming in the near future. And where does that leave the Warriors now? I mean, a lot of depth, but some of that depth to be tested with Melton, who had worked his way into that starting lineup, and somebody that really was a perfect fit for what the Warriors like to do. A two-way player in terms of the ability to make shots and fit into an offense where he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands a whole heck of a lot, but also be able to defend at an extremely high level next to Steph Curry in the backcourt. And a player that in the limited amount of time that he played with the Warriors here before the injury, you could really see why the Golden State Warriors wanted to get DeAnthony Melton. So tough deal for Melton, who signed the 1-year, $12.8 million contract this offseason over the summer as the Warriors pivoted away from Klay Thompson after Klay said he was going to go to Dallas and looked to add not only DeAnthony Melton, but Kyle Anderson as well as Buddy Hield. So the Warriors do plan to apply for a $6.4 million disabled player exception. So that's half of Melton's salary is what they can get on a DPE. But the Warriors at this point are $1 million under the hard cap at the first apron. So the Warriors can apply for it and be granted it, but you can't use it unless you're far enough under the cap to be able to use it when you get to the point where you're hard capped at the first apron, as the Warriors are. So you can get it and keep it in your back pocket. And then if you make another move that frees up enough salary space to where you could use it under the cap, then you have the opportunity at that point to go ahead and add a player with that disabled player exception. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That is the number to give us a call or shoot us a text here. Let's go ahead and take a quick timeout here early on in the program as the Warriors get the win over the Hawks, 120-97. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Out here, in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Stress builds up, you have trouble sleeping, Maybe your mind is racing and you just don't feel like yourself. So what do? We get help. Lots of people are struggling with their mental health. It's more common than you think. The good news is there are people in our community who are here. Times are tough. Sometimes just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world, so we don't feel so alone. One thing you can do is visit loveyourmindtoday.org for simple steps you can take to find the right solution for you. Whether it's hearing stories about what other people are going through or finding the resources we need to navigate the stresses in our lives. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman and the 12th Institute and the Ad Council.
What is dementia? Is it the same as Alzheimer's? What is vascular dementia, Lewy body, FTD, TBI, and CTE? If someone has memory loss, does that mean they have dementia? Millions of Americans ask these questions every day. I did too, and I learned. My wife, Ginny, developed dementia. I didn't know what to do or what was coming next. I'm Kevin Jameson, volunteer and president of the Dementia Society of America. I'm excited to offer you a free guide to understanding dementia. It's filled with facts about dementia, care planning, how doctors can help, and ways to keep your brain as healthy as possible. The Dementia Society of America is a national nonprofit, and we're ready to answer your questions. You want to live life to the fullest. I know that. Ginny did too, and I'm confident that we can help. Get your copy of the guide. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Thank you.
Back with more Blue and Gold. This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Wiggins tried to give a take foul. Didn't even do that. It just happened too fast. Reason say couldn't even grab him.
All right, big night for Andrew Wiggins. Warriors win 120-107. Back here at Harmonic Brewing, it's Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the Sports Leader. 808 KNBR. 415-808-5627 to give me a call or shoot me a text here at Harmonic Brewing. Warriors are 11-3. Big game from Andrew Wiggins, 27 points. And Andrew Wiggins has looked maybe not at the level that he was at going back to 2022 and the end of that season when the Warriors won the championship, and two-way Wiggs, and as well as he played in those playoffs against Denver and Memphis and Dallas and Boston, but he is clearly on a different level from where he has been the last 2 years. And I think even if this level for this year is in between the last 2 years and what it was in 2022, I think this Warriors team has the ability to really have that level allow them to reach heights that they haven't seen here in these last couple of years. And I think it's already proven to be true in these first now 14 games of the season, where the Warriors have the 11-3 record. So Wiggins, a major bright spot for this team. And I know he missed a couple of games early. He had the difficulty with training camp and getting sick and not being able to play over in Hawaii, and a little injury that forced him to miss a couple of games in the first week plus of the season. But wow, Andrew Wiggins is much more engaged and in the action, and I think has made himself a part of really a core three in that starting lineup, along with Trace Jackson-Davis. And right now the 2 spot is the one where you kind of figure out, all right, it's night to night. They wanted it to be DeAnthony Melton, but he's now going to be done for the year. Lindy Waters gets the nod tonight. Initially had Wiggins playing that spot with Kuminga at the 3. Pajemski could be in the mix there. They've got a lot of options. Moses Moody. If there's one spot where you want it to be that open spot, that's probably a position where the Warriors have the most options. Buddy Hield, who Steve Kerr said pregame is somebody that he still likes to have coming off the bench. And I think part of the decision to start Lindy Waters III was that it keeps everything aligned for the Warriors in terms of that bench group. You keep Buddy Hield in his role. You keep Gary Payton II in his role. You keep Brandon Pajemski in his role, along with Moses Moody, and you got a number of different options given the matchup and given the night that you can roll with. at those particular positions. So it really, as much as it's, but the thing that allows for that to happen and to where you can have that spot be one where you're figuring out on a nightly basis by committee. The reason that works is because you have Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins as the baseline for your starting lineup. And TJD isn't going anywhere in that lineup either as you look at this one. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That's the number to give me a call or shoot me a text if you want to react to this one as we come to you live from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Warriors are 11-3. You can react to this one if you'd like. You can weigh in on where the Warriors should go at that two-guard spot. Sounds like it's going to be Lindy Waters III for the time being. Would you go with Buddy Hield? Would you go with Podziemski, who it sounds like is in the mix, as I just mentioned? And I'll give you another thought just on tonight's game overall. Yes, the 31-point lead got knocked down to 13. And yes, the starters had to come back in the fourth quarter and try to finish the deal. But I still think the fact that this game, for the most part, was a blowout and ended as a blowout, I think it's a great win for this Warriors team because what they've done against a lot of these teams that are proving to be inferior here in the early part of the season, they've blown them out. They haven't even messed around with these teams at different point. Like they just, you look at it and they've had some big wins against some really good teams, and some of those games have been close. Some of those games have been blowouts that have turned into close games. OKC and Houston, a couple of teams off to really good starts, as expected in the case of the Thunder for this season. But they've smoked the Pelicans. They've smoked Portland. They've smoked Utah. Like, they have had a lot of games where you're playing a team and you think, hey, if the Warriors are going to be a good or maybe even great team, they're going to have to be able to put it to these teams. And to this point, they've handled their business in that. So I typically don't love to be somebody who looks at margin of victory, but I think when you're getting enough wins against the really good teams, margin can be something that comes into play when you're playing some of the lesser teams. Are you messing around with them? Are you letting them stay in the game? Or are you coming out engaged like the Warriors did off of the loss the other night against the Clippers down in Southern California? The Warriors had it dialed. Defensively, flying around, Draymond blowing up plays. You had ball movement galore, and 41-22 into the first quarter. Like, boom, exactly. That is what I call a response to a poor effort the other night. And not even a poor effort, but just not playing all that well the other night in Los Angeles. All right, let's get into the YouTube chat a little bit. Estimated Eyes thought JK played better too overall. I agree. I thought JK played better than the line ended up. I think he ended up 3 for 9 on the game and 1 of 3 from 3, but he scored 10 points, but he had a couple assists, a couple steals, a block. I thought Jonathan Kuminga was active. It's not always about the straight up line. Buco Sports Pods took a slap for the team. Yeah, that was that. Podziemski just has a knack for getting hit in the face. It's not the first time, obviously, having to wear the mask for a handful of games here going back to the beginning of the year. And then, he got hit last year a couple of times. CB, poor Pods. But again, good news there. Nothing broken. It looked bad when he went down. And then you see, oh, man, and you hope, obviously, that it's not some kind of broken nose or orbital fracture or that kind of thing. Erwin Kwong chiming in, and I guess this was a topic in the postgame press conference about Jonathan Kuminga's minutes. Here's the other thing I didn't notice. I didn't even notice Jonathan Kuminga didn't play a lot of minutes in this one, but only 15 tonight. And again, that's okay. They won by 23 and led by 31. It's okay if Jonathan Kuminga and you know what? I'll say this. You know how the Warriors might actually be a good or great team? It's when people start complaining and blowout wins about who's not getting enough minutes because fans want to see everybody kind of share. Like, it's not how it works. You don't win games by 20, 25, 30 points, and everybody gets their 25 minutes, and everybody gets their numbers, and everybody and the pecking order is true on a night in, night out basis as far as who's putting up production. It's funny. I saw that it was a question in the postgame press conference as I was kind of scanning through social media here during the first break of the show. And I'm like, wow, really? How few are we talking? And it was 15 tonight. Erwin Kwong. Only difference is Kuminga didn't get the minutes, not complaining, but want to see Wiggs explode. And honestly, Kuminga and Wiggins have not really been playing the same position again. Kuminga's basically exclusively played the 4 since he's been taken out of the starting lineup, going back to the Pelicans game, which would have been, the 4th game of the year when Stephen Curry went out and missed a couple of those games. So, yeah, what did you think of the uniforms tonight? That's another thing we can throw out there at 808 KNBR. As Buco Sports says, Warriors uniform was neato. I wasn't as big a fan of the uniforms as I was of the floor. I thought the floor was sweet. I love the floor. Now, if you look at the baseline and the sideline, it looks a little New Orleans Pelicans-ish to me. I know a few people had said maybe a little Denver Nugget-ish. Possible. But all in all, I liked the floor with the bridge etched in there, and I thought it was sweet. And I don't know. I thought that's one of the best alternate floors and most unique alternate floors that I've seen. So, job well done. The uniforms, I don't hate the uniforms. I don't necessarily love the uniforms. I just don't always like when alternate colors are brought into the equation. And all of a sudden there's this red that's not really a part of the Warriors, and it starts. And I know other teams do it, and I mean you could make the case that having a black uniform is not necessarily part of it as well, and we've seen that through the different points over time. But everybody's got a black uniform. Everybody's got an alternate. Everybody's got some color that's not necessarily one of their primary colors that are in there. But yeah, having the red was a little odd for me on the warm-ups and the court and all of that. Ebe here, JD, you're right. Warriors should start every game like this. Hawks were running on fumes. They didn't know what hit them. Yeah, the Warriors hit them in the mouth at the beginning of the game. Hit him in the mouth big time. The Hawks are not a good team. I'm trying to make sense of what the hell's going on with their roster. They feel like they're rebuilding, but then they still have Trae Young, and they tried to shed a bunch of salary. Like if they feel like, to me, a organization that doesn't have a lot of direction at this point. Honestly, they look like a team to me that probably should just trade Trae Young and do a complete and utter rebuild. But if you're familiar with some of the ownership mechanics and things that are going on there, they have a really, really, really fraudulent front office. Like, they've got a front office full of people who have basically buddied up to the owner and or are friends of the owner's son, who, by the way, is his favorite player. And so the owner's son is involved in like a pseudo role of where he gets to tell daddy like who his favorite players are, and they stay on the roster and maybe other guys have to go. And then you look at their front office and it's basically a bunch of folks who buddied up to the owner, and then you've got guys who have hired their friends to front office positions as well. It's not a good situation with the Hawks. At this point, Landry Fields, kind of a fraudulent executive at this point in NBA circles, and then from what I understand, hired a bunch of his buddies to work in the front office, and so you get the bleep show that the Hawks have become. Really, kind of a joke. actually, kind of an embarrassment. And I thought they came in with that energy, and the Warriors just slapped them around. And from the jump, built the big lead, and you look around, and all of a sudden it's 41-22 at the end of the first quarter, and the Warriors are cooking, and they're pushing that thing up 25 at the half, 31 in the third quarter. And from that point on, the Warriors kind of able to put this thing on cruise control to win it 120-97. 808 KNBR, let's get to the phones. And that's where James in San Francisco checks in here on the Sports Leader.
Good evening. Just want to make a quick point. This is the first time I've actually seen Steve Kerr actually coach in some way. I don't want to say that in a negative way, like totally negative, but actually coach a big lead, like call timeouts. Like this is something that most coaches do when you've got a lead. They make a run, call timeout, slow the ball down. So I'm actually quite pleased with the effort, and especially on the coaching side. And I've called in a negative way in the past. I just want to be positive in this time.
Yeah, James, I mean, look, I disagree with the fact that he hasn't done that, but tonight I think there have been enough games that have gotten away to where you're not crazy for at least bringing it up or kind of wondering. But tonight, you're right. Tonight he called multiple timeouts. He also basically, even though he probably didn't want to do it, he put the starters back in and said, all right, I'm going to have to play you guys to finish this thing and put it away. And the starters put the game away, and you make sure you get the win. Because the one thing you don't want is to let it get to a point where it's single digits or it's a 1-2 possession game in the final 4 minutes, and then you really got to fight for it when the momentum is all going against you. I think he's had some teams where he's had to let it go a little bit longer than maybe he would like. But tonight, I will tell you, he did. I mean, you're on it. He called 2 timeouts basically in a very short span as things were going from 31 down to around 20, and then from 20 down to 15 to 13. And he was engaged and not wanting to let it get to a point where you really felt like the game was in danger. So I think it's a fair point, James.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Popovich does this, like he does it a lot. And I just feel like, he's a great coach.
Yeah. I mean, some guys take timeouts every 2 seconds, and you look up at the end of the game and you got no timeouts left. Like I get it, but when you have that kind of lead, and thank you, James, I appreciate it. When you have that kind of lead, every game's different. I think there is a little bit of a story to every game, and when you use your timeouts and when you don't, and when you go back to your starters versus when you don't. And look, tonight it all kind of made sense to burn those timeouts, but also go back to the starters and make sure that you don't slip up in a game. Now, the flip side to that is there may be another night where, because Steve Kerr has to do that the starters may not be available to play as many minutes. But again, I'll bet Steve Kerr would say in his post-game press conference in the building behind me here of where Harmonic Brewing sits, I'll bet Steve Kerr would say, hey, I'll do it, but I can't do it every night, and I'm more comfortable doing it because this team has been so deep to where the starters haven't had to play regularly 35, 36 minutes on a night-in, night-out basis. And so you have some games where you can let it rip a little bit and know that, guys, it's not going to burn them out for the next game or burn them out for maybe later in the season. From one James, we go to another at 808 KNBR. Here on the Sports Leader. It's Dubs OT with JD. What's up? What's up, James?
What's up, John? How's it going, buddy? I just want to quickly say, man, about Steve Kerr's performance tonight. If I really could, dude, I'd get on my knees, grab his balls, and suck the shit out of his cock. Because, dude, that's a great fucking
All right. Make sure we dump that. Yeah, you got that, Cole. We got Cole in our studios. We got Ryan McCarthy. You're good with that, Cole? We got that. The folks in the YouTube chat getting a little show tonight from James number 2. Wow. All right, 808 KNBR. 415-808-5627. Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga bobblehead night as well, as Pat H. points out. JK bobblehead night. Robert chiming in on DeAnthony Melton. Unfortunately, Melton does usually have injury problems. It really, you feel bad for Melton, I think, first and foremost, because he hadn't been able to stay healthy throughout the course of his career, and it was a back thing last year. And now he comes out, and I think he was a little banged up to begin the year. And then in the game against Dallas, he tweaks that knee, and it winds up being, anytime you see ACL sprain, it doesn't, you kind of, you just don't see that term, because typically any kind of ligament is a small tear. And so as further evaluation went on, and Steve Kerr mentioned this in his pregame presser, you don't want to mess around with a small ACL tear, because in all likelihood, and I think at one point, and Kerr didn't say this directly, but I think at one point, maybe over the last week, as everything was being evaluated with Melton and what the proper course of action was going to be for DeAnthony Melton, in terms of, I think it sounded like, Kerr made it sound like it was on the table that Melton was maybe going to try to play through it because it was a small tear. My read on it, I'm inferring a couple of things there. Hey, appreciate you. Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you. Come on over. Hey, come on over. I'm gonna stop mid thought. Just anytime you come over, we're gonna get you on screen here. What do we got here?
Steven
Hey,
from Santa Cruz, baby. Let's go.
Steven in Santa Cruz, appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. Come on over. All right, and then who we got?
Michael from the city. Let's go Santa Clara Broncos. Pajemski.
All right, there you go, Michael. Appreciate it. Steven, Michael, thanks a lot. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you for stopping by and saying hi. Always out here, Dubs OT with JD on the Sports Leader. A couple of guys who have the ability to take advantage, and we'll see if they do. They can go talk to Alex. They can go talk to Mike. They can get themselves a fine Kolsch here tonight. But, if you're in the area, if you are a Dubs OT head and you come out to Harmonic, always say hi. Always get your 15 seconds on camera with JD. The YouTubers love it. Bunch of shout outs. And we're getting 4 or 5 a night between the breaks and between guys that'll come up during the show before they take off. And we love it. We absolutely love to have people jumping in and joining the conversation and saying hi out here at Harmonic. The DeAnthony Melton point. It sucks for him because he took the 1-year deal in part to prove to everybody that he could stay healthy and be a part of a winning team again, with the hope that he would be able to get paid in a big-time way next year and beyond. And so it sucks for him, but also sucks for the Warriors in the sense that they really coveted a player of his skill set and the ability to defend on the ball and wreak havoc and add to this depth and play next to Steph Curry. So if anything, we have to see what happens with the disabled player exception. But again, I mentioned the disabled player exception. You can apply to the league for a DPE for an injured player, a guy who has a season-ending injury, and you can get approval for 50% of that player's salary. So $12.8 million, the Warriors could get a $6.4 million salary exception. The problem with that, though, is you have to be, if you're a hard cap team, as the Warriors are, and they are hard capped at the first apron, if you're a hard cap team, you have to be enough under the cap as the amount of the traded player exception or the disabled player exception to be able to use it. So the Warriors could get it, have it be approved, and they are going to apply for it. Anthony Slater of The Athletic reported that pregame that they are going to apply for it. They could be granted the exception, but then not able to use it unless they make a trade that would free up enough money to be able to use it. So it's to use it, they would have to make another move. The other part of the equation and would the Warriors look to trade DeAnthony Melton somewhere else and combine him and his $13 million salary, 12.8, with another player in an attempt to bring a player of similar salary back to the Warriors. And again, maybe that's not a full-fledged conversation for tonight, but I think it's a conversation that may be one that we start to get into at some point here as we get closer to the trade deadline, because to this point it's all been about who would you package potentially for a star-type player. But with Melton being in the position where he's on that one-year deal, he's out for the year, he could become a trade chip in terms of a team that wants to get off some salary of another player. And again, if you package him with another, let's say you packaged Anthony Melton with a $7 million player. Now all of a sudden you could take up to a $20 million player back, assuming a team would want to take D'Anthony Melton and continue his rehab and know that he's going to be a free agent at season's end. So, again, maybe not a conversation for tonight. It's a bummer for Melton and the Warriors that he isn't going to be around, but it's something to kind of keep on the back burner that could wind up being a chip that the Warriors could use. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That's where Peter in Healdsburg checks in here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Peter.
Hey, bud. I just wanted to
man?
give you an update. It's international orange, not red on the uniform.
Okay.
Same color as the Golden Gate. So, not so much red.
Okay, it looks red, but okay, that makes sense. It's kind of Golden Gate Bridge orange. Okay, yeah. I'm with that.
The other thing I think is going on is Steve Kerr changing the NBA again. He did it 14 years ago, spacing the floor, shooting the threes, and now he's doing this 12-man rotation, and it's working. So I'm for it.
Yeah, well, you're for it when you're 11-3. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's working, right?
It is working, and it's allowed everybody to get comfortable, I think, in roles, and it's you know what it does? It keeps everybody happy. It keeps everybody happy initially, and if you're winning, you can keep doing it, and it means you're not taxing the veteran players, the guys who have been on some of these championship teams as much, maybe, and then as you have injuries, which ultimately you're going to have, then you can shorten it a little bit.
Maybe in a few years, everybody else is doing it.
No doubt. That's a good thought. But you got to have enough good players to do it. Hey, thanks, Peter. No, appreciate the call. And, international orange. Okay. All right. I guess you're right. It does kind of look like the old like We Believe era orange, I suppose. A little bit like that, but a color that hadn't really been around in some time. But I think I don't dislike the jerseys. They just kind of look like another team's jersey to me. It just doesn't look like the Warriors to me. But the court, I don't know. The court was sweet. The court, I'm absolutely all in on the court with the bridge, and it just. I love it. Absolutely love it. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and pause here again, and we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll continue the conversation here. We've got some post-game sound to get to as well. We've got fun with numbers to get to as Dubs OT rolls on right here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Everyone has a community, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. Community members can be your eyes and ears when you're not with your kids and alert you to signs of potential problems. Learn more at talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov.
Hoops Heads, Dubs OT with John Dickinson keeps ballin'. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Draymond Green. He laying it up, and then TJD was pretty nifty.
I was about to say, the interior passing, TJDC and Draymond just had his defender, Dyson Daniels, just sealed.
All right, Draymond Green, big night for him, big night for the Warriors. They win over the Hawks 120-97. They're 11-3 back here on Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Still time to sneak in a call or a text on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. 408 chiming in as we speak on the DeAnthony Melton injury, and Melton set to have ACL surgery, so he is going to be out for the year. Do you feel the Melton loss will be big or something they can easily overcome? I wouldn't say easily overcome, but when you look at DeAnthony Melton overall, I mean, he had made an impact when he had played, but he hadn't played a lot. And so I think the Warriors had found ways to be able to win games without him, but he came up big in some of the biggest, a couple of their big wins. He was starting to find his rhythm. He played in the first 3 games of the year and had 11 in Portland, didn't shoot it great. Didn't shoot it great in Utah, 0 for 4, and then had an impact in the first loss to the Clippers back on October 27th. But the 2 games right up before he got hurt are the 2 games that really showed DeAnthony Melton's value and are the games that propelled him into the starting lineup, which was a role that Steve Kerr said he was going to be in for sure moving forward. And I talked about it in the lead up to the season, in the preseason. I thought Melton was going to be the best option for the Warriors to start next to Steph Curry at the 2. And I had said maybe Kuminga at the 4, Draymond at the 5, but they love the TJD Draymond front line with Wiggins at the 3. And Melton is the perfect complement of enough offense and really good on defense to fit with everybody else. So when I look at it, I thought he was the guy at the 2. His best 2 games were the OKC game and the Dallas game. Now think about that for a second. He had 19 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals against Oklahoma City in a game the Warriors were blowing the Thunder out before they had to hang on and win it down the stretch, and they did. Then he has 14, 4 and 4 against Dallas in 26 minutes, and he's part of the closing lineup that Steve Kerr went to along with Kuminga, Draymond, Wiggins, and Steph Curry. And he was a spark to the 15-5 run that helped him win that game. So Can you get by without DeAnthony Melton in the regular season against the Hawks? You sure as heck can. Can you get by without DeAnthony Melton in the regular season, maybe against Memphis when Memphis is banged up and doesn't have John Morant, or against the Pelicans when he's got to miss a couple of games and the Pelicans are woefully shorthanded? Yes. But where DeAnthony Melton had the ability to, I think, really help this Warriors team, it's against good teams. OKC, a team that was the 1 seed last year in the Western Conference, it is right up there with the Warriors atop the conference at the early part of this year, and Dallas, who was in the NBA Finals in June and projects to be a much better team than the team that they've been to this point so far this season. So DeAnthony Melton is a 16-game player. DeAnthony Melton's a guy that, and Warrior fans should know this because he played against him in that 2022 series with the Grizzlies, and he was a handful in that series. He's somebody that didn't miss a beat playing against a Warriors championship team and looked like he belonged in that series. So that, to me, is where you miss DeAnthony Melton above and above and beyond. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Back to the YouTube chat here. Robert, Hawks usually don't play defense. Yeah, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of defense tonight for the Warriors' ball movement. Ball movement beats great defense. Ball movement. Hey, come on over. Hello, how are you? No, come on over today. We're going to get you on camera. It's okay. Thank you. Just hello. Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Alex.
Alex. Nice to meet you, Alex. Come on over. Hi, this is Alex. Okay. How are you doing? Doing well. Okay. What's on your mind? You want to comment? Oh, beautiful. Tim Webb's a great guy. We love Tim Webb. Boots on the ground. That's a thing. Just don't swear. That's the only. I mean, Tim would never tell you to swear. He would not. I know. Yeah, he would not. Hi, but yeah, hi, Tim. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Appreciate you. No. Yeah, no, thank you. Tim's great. Yes. You want to give a shout out? You want to give a quick little shout out? I know where it is, but go ahead.
Shout out to Richmond Republic Draft House in the Richmond district, Clement Street. So
yeah,
wonderful,
all
wonderful.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you for stopping by. It was wonderful meeting you. No, you're okay. You didn't swear, did you? Okay. I was like, you gave me the look like you did. No. Yes. All good. Not awkward. No, never. No more awkward than I do. Yeah, no, thank you. Nice meeting you, Alex. Have a great night. Alex checking in. No, you're all good. All good. We welcome this. Now, 808 KBR, 415-808-5627. Thank you, Alex, for checking in here on the Sports Leader. Yeah, a lot of different things to get you. Where was I? Where was I here? Yeah, the Hawks, any kind of ball movement, and the Hawks are basically toast. And so, yeah, the Warriors moving the ball and taking advantage of some shabby defense, and the Warriors end up blowing this game open. Andis Brown Pods was pretty bad tonight. He's been bad for a while now. That is true. We got to be real about it. Had a better game the other night against Memphis, but that was really his best game in the last couple of weeks, going back to when he had to wear the mask, going back to when he had a little bit of a health issue in terms of fatigue and the like on that road trip where the Warriors went 4-1. So yeah, that when you look at Pods, he's struggling. And Draymond Green, and we're going to play this for you coming up. Draymond Green was asked about Brandon Podziemski's struggles, and I thought Draymond Green had a really telling answer as to Podziemski struggling and sort of the sophomore slump maybe, although Podziemski got off to a really good start. But yeah, for the last couple of weeks, you're right, Andis. It has not been good. AJ Cruz 75. What's going on, AJ? Is Trae Young still a thing? Yeah, Trae Young's not really a thing with this team around him. Wow. I mean, again, as I'm watching Trae Young with the Hawks, I'm thinking, get him out of there. Like, get him the heck out. Like, do the full-blown rebuild. You got all these other young guys you're trying to get into the mix. So Trae Young, Warriors had the clamps on Trae Young tonight. It was GP, it was Kyle Anderson, it was a little bit of Wiggins, it was Draymond helping out. It was all. I mean, they basically took him out and everything else. They made him tap out tonight. There was a competitiveness where they made him tap out and made the rest of the Hawks tap out right before the half. It was gutless. It really was. It was the first gutless effort in a Warriors game this season, and it was the Atlanta Hawks, not the Warriors, who were gutless. Andis adding to his prior comment, I think Kerr should start Pods and try to get him going, play with Steph and Dre to get some easy looks. That's what I thought he was going to do when DeAnthony Melton was out against Memphis. And Kerr didn't go that route. He said he's liked Lindy Waters in the starting lineup. And I'm with you, Andis. I would have done that. Look at Alex. We got Alex in the background there trying to be a little creepy. That's Alex clean it up outside here at Harmonic. But yeah, you can stop by and say hi to Alex. Thank you again. Yes, come on over. Yes, we got always. So I guess this is orange. Somebody was telling me that's what I said. I said it's red. That looks red, but that's the logo from tonight. Is that the logo from tonight? Okay. I guess somebody said it's actually called, we want you to hop on here. Somebody said it was called International Orange. Now, that does not look orange. That is not orange. But that is that is obviously the, it's kind of, So anyway, but what was your name, sir?
I'm Ken.
Ken?
Yes.
Ken, nice to meet you. Appreciate you stopping by. And both of you, Ken, let's go. Yep, group shot right here. We can get the screenshot of it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. Quick thought from you on the game.
It was an amazing game. I didn't expect it to be the way that it was.
Yeah, no, you weren't expecting a blowout?
I wasn't expecting a blowout. And it's kind of, I want the Warriors to win, but as a former Hawks employee too, I worked for both teams.
Okay.
I hated seeing them get beat that bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
All the time.
It's bad. Tonight was bad. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you. Nice meeting you. And honestly, if you guys are you guys heading out for the evening, or okay, you guys are heading out, because I always like to let everybody know when you stop by and you say hi, you can put one on the JD tab. So we can rain check it. We can no. I'm good. No, we can no. I got you. That's how. That if you stop by and say hi, you can take advantage on the JD tab with Dubs OT with JD. But we'll rain check it. We can rain check it. It's raining outside. You guys have had a good time tonight, and so we appreciate you stopping by. No, that's great, and shout out to Tim Webb, for connecting everybody. I love it. So thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you. Nice meeting you, Ken. Nice meeting you, Alex. Thank you. Have a great night. No, have a great night. All great. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. We love the people. Ken and Alex checking in and saying hi. And we can rain check your round if we need to, if you're having a night out on the town somewhere down the line. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We will have a Sounds of JD segment tonight. Sounds of JD. We'll go into the post-game press conferences. We'll hear all the best stuff. It's all straight ahead right here on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson, streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, back here on Dubs OT with JD. Final segment here tonight as we wrap things up out at Harmonic Brewing. Still time to sneak in a call if you'd like, 808 KNBR, or a text. And before we get to Sounds of Silver, let's get to this one text because we continue to have this back and forth. And the 707, JD, Google says the Golden Gate Bridge is painted orange, deemed international orange. Yes, the Golden Gate Bridge is an orange. Like it does look red, but that is an orange. And again, we're relating it back to the color on the Warriors jerseys and on the floor tonight. That also is an international orange, which ties to the whole look of everything in the floor with the bridge on it and all of that. So, but yes, and doesn't the Golden Gate Bridge appear to look red in color? Yes, it does. But I'm talking about my guy Ken's hoodie. That really looked red and not orange. But yes, it is a very bright orange that almost looks red. I think that was the same color, but I took that during the game. Like, it looked like the Pelicans colors. It looked kind of like the Pelicans logo a little bit on the baseline. But again, I'm not saying I hated it. It just kind of looked a little bit more like another team's setup than what the Warriors roll with. And again, I thought the floor was top notch. I thought the floor was absolutely top notch. So, all right, let's get to our sounds for tonight.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, sound of silver for tonight. It's going to be sounds of JD and Greg Silver with the evening off tonight as he continues his transition with Greg Papa, moving to the 10 to 2 slot here on KNBR. So Greg is still going to be around for those that are asking, and he's going to be a part of Friday and Saturday's shows as well. But there are going to be some shows where Greg will have a lesser role. We're working toward having Greg a part of every show. But as that plays out, there may be a night here or there where Greg has to focus on what's going on 10 to 2. And tonight, with everything just getting started, is going to be one of those nights. So sounds of JD here on Dubs OT with JD tonight. So let's get to it. Let's hear from Steve Kerr first and foremost, and what he had to say about the first half versus the second half for the Warriors.
I love the first half. The first half was very aesthetically pleasing. We let our guard down a little bit, especially late third quarter. You know, the game got away from us a little bit, but the energy and the sharp play in the first half was really fun to watch. So we just got to keep building on that.
I thought that was, one of the best first halves, and the Warriors have had some pretty good ones. Oklahoma City, Houston. The Warriors have had some really good first halves, some games that they've been able to blow open in some third quarters. Portland and Utah were more of the third quarter runs that turned those into blowouts. But I thought coming off a loss against a team that you believe is inferior to you, the way that they played in the first quarter specifically and the way they closed the first half on the 10-0 run, spectacular, and really put the Hawks away to the point where I was talking to somebody at halftime. It felt to me like if you're coaching the Hawks and you're Quinn Snyder, you're screaming at your team in the locker room at halftime that you look like you just quit in the final 2 minutes of that quarter. So you figured the Hawks were going to come out and have a little more juice in the second half. It took them getting down farther. It took them getting down 31 to be able to kind of get it going a little bit. And I think the Warriors did take their foot off the gas, which is something that does happen. The Warriors pushed it from 25 to 31. We talked about Draymond's play defensively. The Hawks, though, did finish the back half of the third quarter 28-12 and cut it all the way down to 15. It eventually got to 13. Closest it got, though, was 90-77 when Brandon Pajemski went out. The starters came back in, and the starters put the game away, and it turned out to be a blowout victory. But if you're coming out and setting the tone like that, especially against bad teams, you're going to be able to work through a bad quarter, and that's what the Warriors had tonight in the third, but still not have the game get close to being put in a dramatic position. All right, next up here on Sounds of JD tonight, Andrew Wiggins. We talked about Andrew Wiggins. Phenomenal effort for Andrew Wiggins. Engaged effort for Andrew Wiggins. The 27 points tonight. He was everywhere. He was rebounding the ball. He was attacking. He was getting into the paint. He was getting out in transition. But Andrew Wiggins chose to focus on the Warriors bench and the imprint that they put on this game.
Yeah, our bench is special. You know, our bench is a group of, you know, a lot of different talent. They can do a lot of different things. We got JK, we got Buddy, we got BP, Kyle, Moses, you know, Loon. We got a lot of guys that can go out there and, you know, take over a game and do things, impact the game in a lot of different ways. So our bench has been tremendous all year.
Yeah, the bench has been awesome. And again, I just like the tone of Wiggins. I like that Wiggins is kind of smiling. Wiggins just looks happier. He just looks like he's in a better headspace with this team, knowing that he wants to put the last couple of years behind him. And obviously he's been through some legitimate personal things with the loss of his father right before the season got started. But Wiggins has been really good. And this is the version of Andrew Wiggins that makes you think this Warriors team has the potential to be something more than a team that's just going to kind of eke into the top six in the Western Conference. This kind of Wiggins gives you more of a margin to be able to start to daydream about what this Warriors team could be. And part of that is because of the bench as well. Part of that is that they're so deep, but the depth is able to make much more of an impact when the starters are solid. And now the Warriors have, I think, 3/5, really 4/5 of that starting lineup. 80% of that starting lineup is solid, with TJD now being in the mix as well. All right, next up is Trace Jackson Davis, who again chose, despite playing really well himself, 14-11, 4 assists and a block. And Trace Jackson Davis is really good at having these 22 to 25-minute games where it's double-double with a couple of blocks. He's moving the rock and really outplaying his counterpart. And he outplayed Clint Capella in the time that they were on the court tonight. And it really helped the Warriors spark a couple of the runs, especially the first half and first quarter run. So nice night for TJD, but he too chose to speak about the Warriors bench post game.
I think we did a great job. The starting group got us off to a good start, and then coach always yells strength in numbers. And so as we rotate guys in, everyone's playing hard, and then we got out to that lead, and then teams don't have enough depth, and we just keep running. So I thought we did a great job tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point. When the starters can get off to that kind of a run, the Warriors bench is going to be better than 80 to 90% of the benches in this league, maybe even 95%. I don't know how many teams can say they have a better bench than the Warriors. It's probably count them on one hand, and if even 2 or 3. And so if the starters get cooking like they were tonight, the bench comes in and the whole thing just continues to explode in a big time positive direction. So, and how about TJD shouting out strength in numbers and quoting the head coach, Steve Kerr on that front. All right, let's get to our final cut here tonight. And this is a lengthy one, but when Draymond Green is feeling it and Draymond Green's behind the mic, Draymond Green will just kind of have a little moment. And Draymond Green did that tonight. Draymond, he didn't totally grab the mic. Sometimes, like, Draymond's really feeling it when he takes the mic off the little stand and he just kind of holds the mic. He didn't do that tonight. But Draymond was asked about Brandon Pajemski's slow start to the beginning of this season, and he gave about as thoughtful an answer as one could imagine. Here's Draymond.
I don't say this from experience of myself. I say this from experience of watching people. It's hard having a great rookie season and then coming back and having the second year as good or better. It's tough. That's why you've always heard of a sophomore slump. It's a very tough thing to do. And I think for him, he's just put so much pressure on himself for the player that he wants to be and that he thinks he should be. And it's unnecessary because what he's special at is doing all the other things on the floor. And when you put the pressure on yourself, like, I got to make this shot, but there are some guys that have that pressure, and they have to because that's what they do. If you don't have to have that pressure, I say that from experience, don't put that pressure on yourself because it's hard night in and night out to live based on whether you make shots or not. It's a tough thing to do. Only the greatest can do it. And I think he's capable of becoming a really, really, really good player in this league. But why put the added pressure on yourself? Why beat yourself up? We believe in him. The amount of pressure that he puts on himself with each shot is insane. And so I'm saying this also, so I hope he hear it. Me and Steph talk to him every day. Like, who cares? Miss 7 of them. No one cares but you. Like, you're the only person thinking about the shots you miss. No one else is thinking about it. But he kind of puts this pressure on himself of what he needs to be, and every shot means so much, man. It's a soft Wednesday in November. That shot don't mean that much. But he carries that weight. And I think anyone who carries that amount of weight in anything, it affects you negatively. And I hate that for him. And so that's something that we've been trying to talk to him about. Like, stop reacting to everything that goes wrong for you. No one cares but you. Nobody else. You know why? Because what we care about is all of the other things that you do. So if you do all of those things well, and that can keep you on the floor, who cares about the shot? And I think he has to reach that point. But some of that is who you are as a person. And so you have to do that work as well. So I we have the utmost belief in him, and he's been positively affecting his team. So I'm not saying he's in any way hurting us as a team. Like, we're a better team when he's on the floor. But he's got to stop putting the pressure on himself that he puts on himself each and every night.
Wow. I mean, think about that from a vet and a future Hall of Famer and a leader of this basketball team. The amount of pressure he puts on himself with each shot is insane. And he says, I'm saying this, I hope he hears it. Incredible. He says, me and Steph talk to him every day. Like, who cares? Miss 7 of them. Nobody cares but you. That's insane. I mean, to think, I mean, that is unbelievable and the confidence that you have in somebody to be able to say that. And so, yeah, we'll see. I know Brandon Pajemski is very highly thought of within the Warriors organization. And, he is the kind of guy that he misses all of his shots in a singular game. And he will shoot for an hour and a half post game in the arena with the team not traveling until the next day, as he did in Portland after the opener there. So at some point, you love having somebody that's got the desire and the work ethic to want to get better. But at some point, you got to be able to clear your head and relax and do the things that need to be done to become a better player. That's a hell of a clip to close out our Sounds of JD here tonight for Greg Silver on Dubs OT. All right, Cole and Ryan back in the studio. Let's take a quick time out. And we'll come back and we'll do fun with numbers. Let's do that. 808 KNBR. If you want to sneak in a call, although we're probably not going to take any more calls, I do want to get to a text on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. I also want to get back into the YouTube chat. So some final thoughts from the YouTube chat and fun with numbers straight ahead right here on the Sports Leader.
Live from downtown.
Hurry, way downtown. Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader, streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
All right, back here, Dubs OT with JD. Final segment, a shorty out here at Harmonic Brewing. Big thanks to Mike. Big thanks to Jeff, as well as Jimmy and everybody out here at Harmonic. Eddie, all my guys and gals out here as well. Grace and Shay and Julia. Appreciate everyone out here at Harmonic Brewing. Final segment, fun with numbers time here as the Warriors do beat the Hawks tonight, 120-97. Want to make sure I shout out a few folks in the YouTube chat. Otis Bird III, Gisak, Pat H., Estimated Eyes, The Skills Report. Appreciate you, Skills. Clickbait. NBA champ Wiggs is back. Andis Brown participating in the conversation here tonight as well. Rockin' New Era. And Greg Silver in the chat tonight. Greg Silver has been all over the chat tonight. Love Greg for everything that he's been doing to help transition some new folks behind the scenes that are going to be helping out. But again, I always say this, Greg's not going anywhere. He's not going to be here every single night because of his new role, co-hosting and producing with Greg Papa 10 to 2. And tonight was a night where it made sense for him to help out, but focus on the shows that he's got coming up here the next couple of days. And Greg's going to be a part of this show, though, moving forward for sure. So, again, don't sweat it if you're worried. I know we had somebody in the chat the other night that said, if this is Greg's last show, I'm going to cry. It was not Greg's last show. I promise. It was not. And Greg will be a part of things and making it. He has made his presence felt behind the scenes tonight, even without appearing on camera in studio. But we've got a bunch of really good things dialed in to make Greg a little bit of a different part of the show than he's been over the course of the last year. And we are 10 days away from our 1 year anniversary. But I also want to thank Cole LaPelt and Ryan McCarthy for the job that they've done here tonight. So fun with numbers in our final segment here. And Austin Scott, who comes and joins me. Austin, you want to hop on? Just not hop on, but just say hi to Austin. Austin needs a little FaceTime. Austin's doing a great job. What's going on? I love Austin, and Austin is doing a great job on the digital side in the press conferences, and just a great dude. I'm just giving shout outs to Ryan and to Cole and to Greg and you as well. Greg's been in the chat tonight and helping out behind the scenes. So yeah, if you got a quick. Go ahead.
Just new chapter of Dubs OT. We're up and running, looking great. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So Austin's here, and all the KNBR socials for a lot of the post-game reaction to this one, including that Draymond Green clip, which was phenomenal in Sounds of JD tonight. Sounds here on Dubs OT. All right, some quick notes here as we call it a night from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City, and I got to find where I had everything here. Fifth consecutive home win for the Warriors. They dropped the home opener, and then they've won every home game since. And they held the Hawks to 33% shooting. Warriors 4-0 when holding the opponent under 40, and 3-0 when holding opponents under 197 tonight for Atlanta. Warriors, look, you're going to win most games when you score 120. But you got to be playing at least decent defense if you're going to go undefeated in today's NBA. When you score 120, the Warriors had 120 tonight. They're 9-0 when they score 120. They're 7-0 when they have at least 50 rebounds. They're 7-1 when they have at least 30 assists. And I thought the ball movement tonight was a bigger part of the action as anything. Warriors also 11-0 now when they lead after three quarters. They led by as many as 31. Andrew Wiggins, second straight 20-point game, fourth 20-point game of the season. Again, Wiggins may not be the 2022 Wiggins, but he sure as heck ain't the 2022, 23, 23, 24 Wiggins. He is on a level above the last two seasons, and we'll see where it goes from here. But Andrew Wiggins playing the way he did tonight starts to make you wonder, if this Warriors team might have a little bit more action in the grand scheme of things than originally anticipated. And then Stephen Curry, fourth time in the last 5 games where he scores 20 or more points, 7th 20-point game of the season. He did it in 30 minutes. And Trayce Jackson-Davis, first double-double of the season for Trayce Jackson-Davis. We heard from Trayce Jackson-Davis in the last segment, and Trayce Jackson-Davis, again, he is really good at coming up with these quiet 14, 11, and 4 assists with a couple of blocks. Like, he just kind of, oh, wow, like in 22 minutes, outplayed Clint Capella in the game tonight. So nice night for Trayce Jackson-Davis. All right, that's going to do it. Big thanks to everybody out here at Harmonic Brewing. Big thanks to those who stopped by and said hi. I think it was 5 tonight. Again, 4 or 5. And that's kind of been the average here for Dubs OT in the 5. And by the way, the Warriors are unbeaten 5-0 when we have Dubs OT here at Harmonic Brewing. Just saying. Not saying, just saying. Thanks to Cole Appel and Ryan McCarthy. Cole, I always ask Greg, anybody else helping out tonight that I missed? I want to make sure everybody gets their shout out.
Overnight Dave, Kyle Chung.
Overnight Dave and Kyle Chung. Big thanks to you. Always Overnight Dave. When I don't see Overnight Dave in the background there, I kind of forget that he's there. But yeah, Overnight Dave and Kyle Chung. For Austin Scott and Greg Silver and everybody out here at Harmonic, I'm JD. We will talk to you Friday, 7 o'clock, right when the Warriors and Pelicans go final from New Orleans. Should be another Dubs win, and one that may, depending upon what happens in the Denver-Dallas game, may clinch the Warriors group in the Emirates Cup, which would put them one step away from potentially going to Vegas. JD going to Vegas? Maybe. More on that coming up on Friday, as we'll have Dubs OT coming up from somewhere in Wisconsin. Warriors are in New Orleans, Dubs OT somewhere in Wisconsin. Might be Milwaukee, might be Appleton, might be Green Bay. Going to get to Green Bay eventually, and then the Warriors and the Spurs on Saturday. So that'll do it. Warriors win it 120-97. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Especially kiddos, because they do not hold back. They're not trying to be respectful of your feelings. If they don't like it, they'll just tell you. Kind of like Boomer Esiason on Wednesday morning, I was trying to hand out cookies, and I don't know what is wrong with the Stooges who work in the morning, but they did not, only a couple of them. Billy took a cookie. I think EJ took a cookie. Maggie and Perloff completely denied the cookies as though they needed to eat it right that second. They could have held on to the cookies. I mean, seriously, Carlos took a cookie when he was here last night.
I wish I had more.
So I was having trouble giving away any of the cookies. And I said to Boomer, can you please eat a cookie? Sure, I love cookies. I said, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. Well, I didn't say Eastern time to him, but just for context purposes. And he said, who cares? What's the difference? A cookie is a cookie. Thank you.